R. Kelly didn't just lose his fame, he landed in a prison system that, according to his attorneys, is slowly trying to end his life.
These are people who seek to kill Mr. Kelly.
Word on the inside says R. Kelly got jumped again behind bars, and the way it all unfolded, it's clear someone with power wants him wiped out for good.
They say that R. Kelly woke up allegedly on June 13th and he felt faint, he was dizzy, he started to see black spots, he got up and he fell.
Let's unpack how this whole situation spiraled. The hit crew gets exposed. The story kicks off with a guy whose time was running out faster than a corner store sandwich. Michael Glenn Stein, a terminal cancer patient and longtime shot caller for the Aryan Brotherhood, had been behind bars since 1982, stacking a reputation as one of the most ruthless figures in the federal system. Stein was locked up for murder and had a record full of chaos, even threatening to harm or kill federal agents back in 2015.
According to documents that R. Kelly's legal team just filed, they're alleging that there is a man, last name Stein, who is a gang leader, a big gang leader, and that he has provided a sworn statement to them that prison officials offered him his freedom to spend his last days free if he would allegedly kill R.
But in February 2023, while doing time in a Colorado supermax, Stein said something wild went down. In a sworn statement from May 19, 2025, he claimed that a Bureau of Prisons officer named Ray Childress approached him, the same official who'd already been using Stein to order assaults and hits on inmates. This wasn't a first-time favor. Stein alleged that during his 13 years moving through different federal joints, he'd been doing dirty work for the BOP in exchange for special treatment. No surprise inspections and free reign to run contraband.
There was an inmate that came forward before, and that stated that he was hired to kill R. Kelly. I don't know if you heard about that. Yeah. I never believed that.
That February meeting, though, was on another level. Childress showed up without notice, flanked by Warden Gutierrez and Associate Warden Stangl. No guards were around, a red flag that this was top-secret business. Knowing Stein was basically on borrowed time with his diagnosis, Childress dropped what could only be called a devil's bargain. The plan: transfer Stein to FCI Butner in North Carolina, where R. Kelly was serving time, and have him take out the fallen R&B icon. In exchange, Stein would face the murder charge, but the conviction would disappear when the evidence conveniently went missing.
Now, the way that this man says that this was supposed to go down is that he was supposed to kill R. Kelly, allegedly, and then he would get charged for it, and then he alleges that prison officials were going to fumble the evidence and ultimately bury the case. They would then allegedly transfer him to another location where he would be allowed to escape and stay free.
It's just him. It's a few people that when they got these long cases, suddenly they all got plots to murder them and they all want to.
According to Stein's documents, the motive was tied straight to Kelly's legal strategy. Childress called Kelly a predator who hurt young white girls, someone the Aryan Brotherhood would gladly eliminate. But more importantly, Childress warned that Kelly's attorneys were preparing to reveal explosive info that could incriminate high-ranking BOP and even DOJ officials. In short, Kelly was being painted as a direct danger to the Bureau itself.
Kelly's team is saying that all this is happening because they've been investigating whether R. Kelly's rights were violated throughout the process of his trials, and that they're alleging they recovered some information that they were, and that this information was going to come out. So this is a response alleged.
The alleged exposure involved misconduct during Kelly's investigations, things like illegal wiretapping of his lawyer calls and outright obstruction of justice. Kelly's legal team claims these intercepted conversations were past the prosecutors to manipulate witnesses, including his former girlfriend Osrielle Clary, into testifying against him, which ultimately led to his convictions.
These two witnesses, according to these documents, and according to R. Kelly's legal team, were flipped on R. Kelly based on this in-house informant. This in-house informant by the government allegedly went to Adrielle Clary, went to LaShonda, showed Adrielle Clary some communications that R. Kelly, emails, phone calls with another woman outside of Adrielle, because y'all know she was dating R. Kelly. Yeah. And they allege that because of the communications that were shown, he then influenced her to be the government's key witness.
It's just him. It's a few people that when they got these long cases, suddenly they all got plots to murder them and they all want to get out.
Stein, who openly admits to a long and bloody past, was initially all in on the plan. The transfer happened lightning fast. Within just 2 weeks, he was moved from Arizona to FCI Butner on October 17, 2023. He first landed in the medical ward and stayed there until March 2025, when he finally got relocated to Kelly's unit. The moment he hit Kelly's block, a staff member reminded him exactly what he'd been sent there to do. For weeks, Stein shadowed Kelly's every move, studying his schedule, routine, and weak points. The setup was airtight. Living in the same unit meant Stein had constant access and endless chances to strike. But over time, something unexpected stirred inside this seasoned killer. Facing his own mortality, Stein started to reflect on his past and claimed he experienced what he called a moral awakening. He decided that killing Kelly to protect dirty BOP and government officials crossed a line he couldn't ignore. So instead of carrying out the hit on April 11, 2025, he flipped the script entirely. Stein walked straight up to Kelly and told him everything. "I told him the truth," he said, "that I'd been ordered to kill him, who sent me, and why his life was in real danger." The confession must have been chilling. Learning the guy tailing you for weeks was actually sent to end your life. But Stein's decision to turn whistleblower created a new crisis for the conspirators. Suddenly, two men knew the plan, the target and the assassin who refused to pull the trigger. Stein warned that time was critical and volunteered to take a polygraph, testify under oath, and identify witnesses who could confirm his record of BOP-backed violence.
He will take a lie detector test, and he will testify if he has.
Stein framed his move as redemption, a chance to expose years of corruption instead of adding another name to his list of victims. Lieutenant Teague reportedly kept pressing him to finish the mission, reaching out multiple times, but the dying inmate stood firm. His refusal only raised the stakes for both him and Kelly. Things escalated even further on June 6, 2025, when Kelly's lawyers discovered that another Aryan Brotherhood member at FCI Butner had been approached by BOP officer Lieutenant Teague with the same deadly proposal, this time, to take out both Kelly and Stein. The new recruit, David Keith Harris, was expected to carry out the double hit without hesitation. According to Harris's own statement, Teague described how the killings would go down. Poison slipped into meals at the chow hall and even in commissary food. It was meant to look clean and untraceable. Poison could easily mimic natural health issues, like Kelly's existing blood clot condition, or be blamed on an accidental overdose. Adding commissary items to the plan made it even colder. It meant Kelly couldn't avoid the danger just by skipping prison meals. Like Stein, Harris refused the mission and went to Kelly's legal team with what he knew. Supporters online and in the media quickly spread the story, naming Harris and warning about the potential poisoning. The inclusion of Stein in this second phase made it clear this wasn't just a hit, it was a cover-up, designed to silence both the victim and the witness. The timing couldn't have been more strategic. Just days later, Kelly's lawyers dropped a bombshell emergency motion demanding his release from custody. On June 10, 2025, attorney Bob B. Brinley filed a motion in federal court in Chicago, calling for Kelly's immediate transfer to home confinement based on the assassination plot. The filing included sworn statements from both Stein and Harris, each willing to testify and take lie detector tests to verify their claims. The motion accused three top BOP officials, a warden, an assistant warden, and another senior administrator, of engineering the scheme. Their names, however, were withheld publicly, likely because of pending legal action and privacy restrictions. The motion claimed that keeping Kelly locked up under these conditions amounted to cruel and unusual punishment under the Eighth Amendment, given the immediate threat to his life. Bureau of Prisons records confirmed Stein's transfer from Arizona to North Carolina, adding weight to parts of his testimony, though the agency refused to discuss the matter, citing safety and privacy rules. Prosecutors from the U.S. Attorney's Office in Chicago quickly fired back, dismissing the claims as a shocking but baseless fabrication. They argued that Stein's violent past made him far from credible, calling the story fantastical, absurd, and a desperate attempt to manipulate the justice system.
I don't believe that these charges are true. I mean, I don't believe these women are being truthful.
But the most shocking twist was still ahead. Just 2 days after the emergency motion hit the public record, the alleged conspiracy took a darker, more dangerous turn, one that left Kelly literally fighting for his life. What happened next became known as the poisoning incident and the cover-up. The morning of June 13, 2025, started out like any other inside Kelly's solitary cell at FCI Butner. He had been thrown into isolation 3 days earlier, officially for his safety, but his attorneys claimed it was retaliation for exposing the assassination plot. What unfolded next would either confirm one of the most explosive accusations ever made against the Bureau of Prisons or reveal a bold, last-ditch legal gambit by a convicted star. According to court filings, the events read like a page from a medical thriller. Kelly woke up feeling dizzy, disoriented, and seeing dark flashes. When he tried to stand, he collapsed, crawling toward the cell door before blacking out completely. Prison medics couldn't stabilize him and ordered an emergency transfer to Duke University Hospital in Durham, North Carolina.
They say that Kelly woke up allegedly on June 13th and he felt faint. He was dizzy. He started to see black spots. He got up and he fell. He crawled to the door of the cell and he lost consciousness then. At that point, he was placed on a gurney.
Kelly's lawyers insisted this wasn't a random health scare. It was an outright attempt on his life. They alleged prison staff intentionally overdosed him with excessive amounts of his prescribed anxiety and sleep medications. The timing, coming just days after the murder-for-hire claims went public, was no coincidence in their eyes. Attorney Bo Brinley stated that while Kelly was in solitary, staff handed him his regular medication but told him to take an extra dose supposedly for better rest. The next morning brought the terrifying side effects that left him unconscious and fighting for survival.
Taken by ambulance to a nearby hospital because they tried to take him to the hospital inside of or associated with the facility that he's in, but they...
Once Kelly arrived at Duke University Hospital, things grew even more alarming. Test results reportedly showed dangerously high levels of blood pressure and anxiety drugs in his system, along with severe blood clots in both legs and lungs. His legal team said those clots developed because the BOP had removed him from his prescribed blood-thinning medication, despite his known medical risks. The clot findings were no small detail. Untreated, they can be instantly fatal. Doctors recommended a week-long hospital stay and surgery to remove the clots. But according to Kelly's attorneys, that recommendation was ignored. They claimed armed BOP officers entered his hospital room, forced him out against medical advice, and took him straight back to solitary confinement.
Alleges that it was overheard someone in the ambulance from the hospital say this is going to open a whole new can of worms.
The sheer cruelty of that decision, the lawyers argued, couldn't be overstated. Pulmonary embolisms, clots that reach the lungs, are among the deadliest conditions a person can face, often killing without warning. Standard medical protocol calls for immediate intervention and ongoing observation. Brinley said the Bureau's actions placed Kelly's life in grave danger, as leaving the clots untreated could easily turn fatal. The defense team's response came fast. On June the 16th and 17th, they filed an updated motion, now explicitly claiming the overdose was intentional, part of the broader murder plot they'd been warning about. Brinley declared, they gave him a dose that could have killed him, linking the alleged poisoning directly to the timeline following the first plot revelations.
According to R. Kelly's legal team in the first filing, and they reiterated in this one, that whole plot to uncover the fact that there were things that were done wrong when it came to, remember I talked about like the flipping of the witnesses and all these things that they're alleging happened. Basically, they're saying the government and the prison officials have been covering up the fact that they did whatever they needed to do to convict R. Kelly.
These accusations went far beyond claims of simple medical negligence. Kelly's attorneys argued that the entire ordeal had been caught on the prison surveillance system, footage they said would serve as undeniable proof of what really happened. According to their filings, the cameras would show Kelly entering solitary confinement, handing over his prescribed meds as per protocol, and then being given an extra dose by staff. They also asserted that hospital files would verify the overdose and confirm that he was removed prematurely, against doctors' orders. The desperation from Kelly's defense team reached a new peak when they made a direct plea to then-President Donald Trump. Attorney Brinley reportedly sought a presidential pardon, arguing that Trump was the only person who could intervene fast enough to save Kelly's life, given the slow-moving court process. This last-ditch appeal showed how far his team believed they had to go, convinced that the legal system itself couldn't shield their client from what they described as an organized attempt to eliminate him.
Asked the Bureau of Prisons about the allegations, they said they do not comment on pending litigation.
The government's reply came quickly, dismissive in tone but revealing in timing. Assistant U.S. Attorney Jason Julian filed the prosecution's response on June 16th, calling the accusations delusional conspiracy theories and accusing Kelly's defense of insulting his victims. Prosecutors insisted the court had no authority to alter Kelly's sentence, emphasizing his record as a serial abuser of minors and warning that granting release could set a dangerous precedent for violent offenders and terrorists alike. The judicial reaction was just as blunt. On June 20th, U.S. District Judge Martha M. Paco denied the emergency motion, ruling she had no legal power to approve a furlough or home confinement even under extreme circumstances. She also cited a lack of credible evidence to justify a hearing, effectively shutting the case down without further inquiry. But that denial didn't close the larger story. Whether these claims were rooted in truth or built on desperation, they expose unsettling realities about the American prison system, particularly how vulnerable high-profile inmates accused of crimes against children can become. The fact that such detailed allegations could exist, naming real officials, transfers, and sworn statements from multiple inmates, pointed to either staggering corruption or equally staggering fabrication.
You don't believe that's okay? I mean, there's some documentation that,
You don't believe the man, huh?
No.
Public reaction, as reflected across social media and major news outlets, was split but mostly doubtful. Many observers saw the claims as an over-the-top strategy by Kelly's lawyers, a ploy designed to stir sympathy and secure his release through sensational, unprovable narratives. Others, though, argued that the violence facing sex offenders in federal custody was well documented, making it entirely plausible that the threats, even if not part of a top-down conspiracy, were still deadly serious.
Just him, it's a few people that when they got these long cases, suddenly they all got plots to murder them and they all want to get out fast.
Dealing with the facts of where we at now. He's in there for a crime against a woman. A lot of times, crimes against kids, crimes against women, they'll you up.
That's a fact.
That's facts.
That is true.
Throughout the court battles and the prison scandals, Kelly's relatives have continued to insist he's innocent. His uncle, Gregory Preston, spoke to reporters after one of Kelly's sentencings, pledging unwavering loyalty to his nephew despite the mountain of evidence presented at trial. For Kelly's family, the legal system's portrayal of him has always clashed with the man they believe they know.
Like I said, he's innocent. I mean, they lied. People lied on him.
So that's as far as I'm trying to take it. You know, I mean, it's so obvious.
And because of the fact that we have been around some of the people at the same time, where they say that they were afraid or they were being charges that they felt, and no fooding, no eating, that is not true.
Even Kelly's estranged brother Bruce, once locked in a bitter dispute with him, admitted mixed emotions when asked about the ordeal during his own legal troubles. "This hurts," he said. "It hurts my soul. I don't believe these charges are true. I just don't believe those women are being honest." The mental warfare inside the prison walls can't be overstated. For someone in Kelly's position, every day carries the threat of violence, and each encounter could turn deadly. The combination of fear, isolation, and constant tension inside protective custody becomes a psychological pressure cooker capable of breaking anyone down. As of now, R. Kelly remains confined at FCI Butner, with no significant update since the explosive events of June 2025. The silence speaks volumes. Either the allegations were successfully buried, just as his lawyers warned, or they truly were the elaborate fabrications prosecutors claimed them to be. Click one of the cards on your screen to watch more deep dive stories like this one.